Hello and good day. I am Mugilan Ravindran, matrix number B0922104333. And today, myself, along with my groupmates, Enkailun, Rashdan, Aisha, Aizat, as well as Danish, we will be presenting about carbon footprint analysis at Petronas Aikaro 3 petrol station. So the assignment requires us to choose a specific place to conduct carbon footprint analysis, and the place that we chose is the Petronas petrol station, specifically the Petronas Aikaro 3 petrol station. So that will be the main focus of our analysis. And in this analysis, we'll be examining direct and indirect greenhouse gas emissions as a result of the Petronas station's daily operations, and we'll be assessing these emissions and also aim to highlight the environmental impact due to these emissions and also promote sustainable solutions to overcome these impacts. Moving on into problem statements, there are three problem statements that we have identified. The first is that this Petronas station, it emits greenhouse gas emissions through fuel sales, energy and water consumption. Second is the awareness of staff towards the emission sources is extremely limited. And the third problem that we have identified is the station's capacity to put into practice efficient strategies to lessen its carbon footprint is hampered by the ignorance of its staff. This directly leads us into our objectives. We also have three objectives corresponding to three problem statements. So the first objective is to calculate and analyze the carbon footprint of the station's daily operations. The second objective is to raise awareness about carbon emissions from everyday activities. And the third is to recommend strategies to reduce the station's carbon footprint. And the next part will be the scope of the project or the limitations that we set for this study. So there will be three parts that we will be covering in this carbon analysis. The first is data collection, the second is emission calculation, and the third is analyzing and reporting. So under data collection, we will be collecting several parameters, which are fuel sales, electricity and water usage, solid waste generation, as well as staff commuting to work. And under emission calculation, we will use the most recent standard emission factors provided by the corresponding agency, and we will use this factor to convert data into carbon dioxide values. And last but not least, under analysis and reporting, we will identify the major emission sources and also suggest actionable strategies for emission reduction at Petronas Aikaro 3 petrol station. That's all from me. Thank you.
Yes, Assalamualaikum. My name is Mirza Ganesh Arif Haris. In this chapter, I will tell about methodology. This chapter details the complete methodology of our project, covering every stage from initial training to carbon footprint analysis, including data collection and step-by-step analysis. Okay, in this flowchart, we begin the project by identifying the main problem statement. Next, we define the job scope and objective, ensuring every team member understood their role. Once a suitable idea was selected, we proceed to contact the management of the target location. After that, we scheduled an appointment and went on site to begin data collection. During the site visit, we conducted direct observation to better understand the environment. Once the data was collected, we verified its quality to ensure accuracy. Using the verified data, we calculate the carbon emission factors. Finally, we complete the presentation and review process to evaluate the result and conclude the project. In task management, Kailun is the leader of the team. His primary responsibility is to ensure that the project progresses smoothly and is completed on time. He will take care of each team, allocate tasks fairly, and address any issue. Our assistant leader is Mugilan Anak Laki Ramindran. His role involves supporting the leader by helping with updates on the project status and assisting with the data collection. He acts as a key liaison between the leader and other teams. Next is logic coordinator. Is Muhammad Rashdan bin Abdul Rahim. His main task is to maintain communication with management, discuss necessary details, and ensure that all stakeholders are aligned with the project goals. Next is our research coordinator is Aisha binti Muhammad Yusuf. Her role is involved conducting background research on the project location, formulating key questions, and documenting significant findings. Next is Muhammad Aizat Irwan bin Nur Azhar.
Hi, my name is Aisha, and this is a data collection for total electric usage for the past 3 months and the total water usage for the past 3 months. As you can see, from March 2025, the electric usage is 14,227 kilowatt per hour, and for the April 2025 is 14,632 kilowatt per hour, and for the May 2025, it spiked up a little to 15,674 kilowatt per hour. This may cause electric use from the customer and from the workers. And the total water usage for the past 3 months is for March 2025 is 237 meter cube, and for April 2025 is 418 meter cube, and for the May 2025 it 409 meter cube per hour. Next is a data collection of fuel sold to public each month. As you can see, in March 2025, the station sold about 445,395 litre of RON and 11,437 litre of RON 57 and 255,57 litre of diesel, which a total of 712,739 litres. In April, RON 55 sold increased to 536,543 litres, RON 57 slightly rose to 12,255 litres, and diesel dropped slightly to 254,816 litres. In May, RON 69 is slightly decreased to 500 and 145 litres, RON 57 increased to 13,069 litres, and diesel saw a sharp rise to 752,589 litres, and the total for May reached to 1,303,312 litres, the highest of the 3 months. That's all. Next is a data collection about total load and mileage travel of petrol truck per each month. The type of cargo and amount of load carried by the percentage petrol truck is delivering fuel for Petronas Hydro Tiga for Malaysia Refining Company Sedan Berhad and Sungai Budak is shown in table 3 in table below. The gas driven vehicle made 30 delivery trip for March, April, and May 2025, where each delivery trip was a round trip of a fixed distance of 32 km. And next is a total number of vehicle staff and mileage travel from different locations in Petronas Hydro per month. Data was collected through a Google form, and most staff live in Batu Berendam and Durian Tunggal. The travel distance were measured using Google Maps, and this table show how often staff use motorcycle or car and how far they travel each month. Motorcycle user of total 730 km per month, while car user travel around 1,100 km. In total, staff travel is 1,820 km per month. This travel data is important for estimating carbon emission from staff community. That's all for me, and I'm going to pass for the next person.
Hello, my name is Ung Kai Loon. My matrix number is D0922102246. So I'll be continuing the presentation regarding the source of emission factor. So basically, how do we calculate this carbon footprint? Is basically we use the source of emission factor, which is the value for emission for each entity that we found for electricity consumption, for solid waste disposal, for water consumption, and for fuel consumption. And then we'll multiply this emission factor with the total disposal usage. And then we will get the carbon footprint. So from here, we found that the source of emission factor for electricity consumption is 0.77 unit. Here are the units: kg CO2 divided by kilowatt per hour, and then the source is from Peninsular Malaysia Energy Commission 2022, grade EF. So for the entity of solid waste disposal, the value for emission factor that we found is 497,000, and the source is from DEFRA 2024, and DEFRA is the Department of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs. So solid waste disposal, water consumption, and fuel consumption, the emission factors that we found are all from DEFRA 2024. And the water consumption emission factor is valued at 0.153, while the fuel consumption is valued at 2.084. So for the calculation of carbon emission, as I've mentioned before, we will simply multiply the emission factor with the total value that we found for each month, which means we will multiply the emission factor with the values for March, April, and May, and total it up together. So for March, we can see the electricity value is 14,237 times by 0.774, the emission factor, we get 11,000 carbon emission in kilogram CO2. While for water, we get 36.26. For fuel consumption, it is very high, clocking at 495,000. And the solid waste, we do not have the value because they are able to be calculated. And the total carbon footprint, carbon emission for March is 606,000. While for the April, the total carbon emission for April is 562,682.14. The carbon emission for May is as such: the electricity usage 929,710. So from here, we can see that over the 3 months, March, April, and May, we found out that the carbon emission is highest during May. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. For this slide, I will show the statistic for the 3-month data, which is the calculated CO2 emission for the 3-month range. For the March 2025, it is 606,164.68 kg of CO2. The next month, which is April, 562,682.14 kg of CO2. And lastly, the highest of them all, 929,710.69 kg of CO2. So, what is the causes of high carbon dioxide emission for this Petronas Hydro 3? Firstly, because of the 24 hours non-stop operation with the continuous use of air conditioning, light, refrigerators and cashier system, which demands a high electricity usage. Next is because it is the proximity of the petrol pump station to UTM campus and industrial areas where daily petrol usage by students, staff, and industry workers, which elevated the fuel combustion and usage. Next is the location, because the petrol station are near the highway plus, which heavy pedestrian traffic using public restroom and using the petrol pump station to pump their cars or trucks, and also using high water consumption, which needed energy for water supply and treatment. Therefore, higher cost, higher emission of carbon dioxide. And lastly, what are the recommendations to reduce such emissions? Firstly, we can use the automatic electricity control system or using LED lighting. For example, in the toilet, if it at night where people are not usually using the toilet, we can the automatic control system will automatically turn off the lights, which can reduce electricity usage. Next is carpooling and employee transport bus. I would suggest to use a transport bus for the employee to come to the work instead of they are using their own vehicle. And lastly, employee sustainability program, where they create awareness training on energy, waste, and transport to the public or to the employee, which encourage eco-friendly behavior in their daily tasks. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Aizat Irwan, and I will be presenting this slide, which is the conclusion. So, in conclusion, carbon footprint analysis at the Petronas station at ICRO 3 revealed key environmental impacts from daily operations and consumer activity. The total emissions increased from 606,164 kg of carbon dioxide in March to 929,710 kg of carbon dioxide in May. Fuel consumption was the main contributor to the total emissions, which it is peaked at 917,516 kg of carbon dioxide in May alone. Electricity emissions also rose steadily, reaching to about 12,131 kg of carbon dioxide in May. And finally, transport emissions, such as the petrol truck and staff vehicles, which totaled to about 337.76 kg of carbon dioxide per month. Here are some appendix that we have collected for our research on Petronas ICRO 3. So for the first one, this is the electric bill for March, which the bill is at 7,726 ringgit. And the second one is the electric bill on April 2025. And as we can see, there is an increase in the bill, which the electric bill for April is 7,946 ringgit. In our appendix, we have our total findings for the total fuel sold, the total fuel movement, and the utilities. For the total fuel, we have all three of the products that are sold in the Petronas ICRO 3 station, which are the Primax 95, the Primax 97, and also diesel fuel. And that is all from us, Group A, Bmkv. Thank you.